Anime today kinda sucks. I'm not gonna lie, the majority of anime being released today is just pure garbage in my opinion. I often search for an anime to watch when the mood strikes me, and while there's a huge number of shows available now, nothing seems to have the appeal that it used to have for me. Maybe it's because I'm old and jaded, and that I view the past through a nostalgic filter. Maybe it's a result of the era, and that localization in the 80s and 90s was a lot less practical, so we only got the best of the best. But I feel anime today simply does not stack up to the great anime of the past. Back in the 80s, I remember getting up at 6 AM every morning to watch Astro Boy. Dude, he was a pimp back then, with his rocket boots and ass guns. I also remember the original Dragon Ball series, and shows like Samurai Pizza Cats and Keroppi and Friends. Don't get me wrong, I was a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, and had an unhealthy obsession with the Ghostbusters. No, not those guys. The real Ghostbusters. Yeah. So, animation was a big part of my childhood. It wasn't until around junior high that I started seeing animation as something not just for kids, however. Around that time, with Canadian cable, we didn't have the Cartoon Network with Toonami. Although we did have YTV, which had some of the shows like Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing, mixed in with a slew of North American animated shows like Animaniacs, Reboot, Gargoyles, and Darkwing Duck. But on the other Canadian cartoon channel, Teletoon, those who were able to stay up until late nights would be treated to a taste of adult animation, with shows that cater to a more adult audience. So we had shows like Duckman, Todd McFarlane's Spawn, MTV's The Head, and occasionally a movie. Funny enough, every entry in this list aired on the late night slot on Teletoon at some point during the 90s. If you clicked on this video thinking I was going to review porn and made it this far, congratulations, you completely missed the point. While the subject here is adult anime, most of these films are fairly tame, minus the occasional adult situation, a boob here or there, and, this guy. Yeah. So without any further delay, I present you with my top 5 adult anime. Number 5, Wings of Hananamase. Wings of Hananamase takes place in an alternate steampunk Earth and follows the story of Shirasugur, who is drafted by the space program. It follows his coming of age, as he overcomes technological difficulties, spiritual doubt, and political red tape. This one is a bit on the serious and dull side, but it has a very unique art direction and character arcs. It barely beat out Dominion Tank Police for the 5th position. Also, Richard Epcar. Number 4, Patlabor. Patlabor takes place in Japan in 2002. Being historically accurate, giant fighting robots are widely employed in the workforce. Okay, to be fair, this was made in '89, so this was the future back then. Cut them a break. Anyway, the plot is a rather complex mystery having to do with a virus in the operating system of the labor robots, triggered by a mysterious source. Footage from Patlabor was also featured in an awesome music video. Richard Epcar was in Patlabor 3. Number 3, Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll is one of the most violent and therefore awesome animes I can think of. It holds no punches with the amount of gore and nudity. Behind all the boobs and blood is some of the best animation I've seen, with an awesome badass storyline and phenomenal voice acting. That's right, even more Epcar. Number 2, Macross Plus. Macross Plus is a beautifully animated story about a slacker fighter pilot named Isamu Dyson. It is not only one of the most beautiful animes I've ever seen, but it's also the first reference I can think of to a Vocaloid, and a soundtrack I find myself listening to pretty often, even today. Richard Epcar was in this one too. Starting to see a bit of a trend here, right? And the number 1 adult anime is Ghost in the Shell. I really shouldn't have to be explaining this one above all others, but for the sake of the uninitiated, this is the definitive anime. It is a benchmark on which all other anime should be judged. It takes place in the current future of 2029, where cybernetic implants are the norm. A cyber hacker known as the Puppet Master is on the loose, and Section 9 is on his trail. This movie has an amazing balance of action and philosophy, and guess what? Yeah, Richard fucking Epcar. So that's the top 5 anime I feel you need to see before you can truly understand what good anime is. Honorable mentions for this list are Dominion Tank Police, Akira, Devilman, and Princess Mononoke. Now don't get me wrong, I liked anime shows from that era as well, like Cowboy Bebop, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Dot Hack, and Escaflowne. And the new stuff isn't all that bad either. I mean, Summer Wars is one of the best anime to be released in years, and I'm really getting into Sword Art Online. I'm Fade Dragon Tier, and that's my thoughts. What are yours? Leave a comment below.